Hello and good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, dependent upon where you are. It's lovely to be back again with you. And today I am bringing on another guest. And this time it is one of our Aussie students. And today I'm here joined by Liz Petrucci. And Liz is in New South Wales in Australia. And I'm going to be asking Liz to introduce herself in a minute. But just to give you a little background on why we're doing this. So many of our potential students have reservations about launching a new career, about doing something that is unknown to them, getting started in something that's completely different and taking the leap of faith. And I get it, it's hard, it's a difficult decision to make. In fact, we did a masterclass on Tuesday, and one of the biggest things that people said to me was that people, in particular, family and friends, weren't supporting their decision, and it was making it really hard for them. And it's difficult then for them to be able to feel like they can take that leap of faith. So what I'm doing over the next few weeks is bringing on some of my students like Liz to talk to you about their journey and to talk to you about their challenges and the things that held them back and where they are in their journey right now. So Liz, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. And of course it's evening in Australia, whereas for me it's morning. What time is it where you are?
Oh, after 8:30? Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So 8:30 in the evening there and 10:30 in the morning for me here in France. Don't you love the fact we've got technology? So Liz, tell me about your journey so far. Before you came to the academy, what were you doing and how did you fall in love with weddings?
Wow, that's a long question. Okay, okay. Hi, I'm Liz. 35-year-old woman from New South Wales. Okay, so what was I doing before the academy? So if we'll go back a little bit. We'll go 15 years ago, personal assistant, fully qualified executive secretary, love organization, love. Decided I didn't want to be someone else's slave, for lack of a better word. That's how I felt at the time. I wanted to be the boss, or I wanted to be a nurturing kind of person that just didn't pile everything on someone else. So I went back to uni and I wanted to do advertising and PR and journalism. So I did a BA in journalism. I realized pretty quickly that journalistic writing is not for me. I like creative writing. So I don't like these many words. I like these many words.
You surprised me, Liz.
It was not a good fit. So I really wanted to read and write for a living, basically. So I thought, what's the best way I can transition journalism into being able to be an editor and writer? And the best way to get editing experience is to mark other people's work. So I became a school teacher, an English teacher by trade, to do that. And anybody who's a teacher out there would know that that is a ludicrous notion. You never have time for anything but your schoolwork. So my own writing and my own sort of things really took a slide. I sort of got into the idea of weddings after my own wedding. So I planned back in 2011, I planned my own wedding in 4 months. 6 months was between engagement to wedding, and my husband said if it took any longer, it wouldn't have happened. So thank God I got it done. All I did was talk about weddings, and he was so done by the time it was done. And it was funny, at the time after my wedding, I actually got depression, and I didn't know why I'd gotten depression. I just didn't want to go back to work, and I really didn't connect with what I was doing. So I ended up taking a term off from school at the time, and I just didn't know why I was so sad. Something wasn't connecting. And it wasn't until I actually started this course and reflected on that I realized it was because I knew then what I wanted to do, which is this. But it's taken me 8 years to get into that scenario that I'm in now. So basically, my son is autistic. This is like a strange sort of segue, but I can't be a teacher right now, even if I wanted to, because his early intervention requires me to pick him up at odd times. He's always going to therapy sessions. And when he moves into school, we're hoping to get him into a school that is at Port Macquarie for children with autism. So I'm not going to be able to work a school day because I have to drop him at 9:20 and pick him up at 2:40. So it's really hard to do a school day when I can only work from period 2 to period 4, you know.
It's not going to work, is it?
I'm going to be interested in that.
No.
So I was looking for something else. And people have said to me, Liz, you should plan weddings, because I planned my sister's wedding in Hawaii for 30 guests back in 2016. And that was just amazing. And I did everything. I was a wedding planner. I was maid of honor. I run the whole show. I got them all over there. Some guests had never been overseas before. And it was such an amazing experience that I had her girlfriends coming up to me going, can you help me with my wedding? Her best friend even said, can you become a celebrant so you can marry us, because your personality is perfect And I'm like, it's not a good time for me to do that. But now is sort of the perfect time for me to do this. So basically I just Googled wedding, like certificates for wedding planning, because I know that you need qualifications for most things these days. And I knew there was event planning from back when I'd done my personal assistant training, because that was, or the college offered events training, coordinating, but I'd never knew if there was anything for weddings. So I just Googled it and it came up. So I wasn't a follower of yours. I'd never been on the Facebook page or the YouTube videos or anything like that. It was literally just that moment that I was just like, and then you were running the boot camp. So I said to hubby, I just want to dip my toe in the water with this and see how it goes. And he's like, it's a great idea, give it a try. And then I knew on like this the first day of the boot camp, this is what I was going to do. And was the first person to sign up for the first launch pad.
That's exactly right. You really were. So you were actually our very first student to take the Wedding Business Launchpad course. And nobody can ever take that away from you, no matter what. You were absolutely the first person there.
Yeah, but you remember that I was so eager that my email address was wrong? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. I do remember that.
Like, I dive in, I'm so eager, and then like I didn't type my email address wrong, so I didn't even get the welcome pack and everything like that.
No, not first of all, you didn't.
You didn't get it, and she's like, okay, Liz, your email address is wrong. I'm like, of course it is, because I'm so eager that I don't pay attention sometimes to the little details, because I was just like, no. So now I usually thoroughly check, but I think I was having problems with payment too. So I kept having to re-enter the information. So by the fourth time, it was like,
finally there.
Because I'm a big fan of the FOMO effect. So I'm like, count me down, subscribe.
No, that's exactly right.
And your email was like, limited spots. I'm like, oh crap.
I know. Obviously that is something that we tend to do.
But for a person like me, it was well done, because it's real.
It certainly got you over the line. But you've gone on quite a journey, haven't you, since you started? Now you started, it would be back in August of this year.
Yeah, July, August.
August when you started on the course. So what were your initial impressions when you first started? Because obviously you did the boot camp, and for those of you that don't know what the boot camp is, when we do our big launches, when we do our big intake of new students, we do a 3-day boot camp or 5-day boot camp. It ended up being quite a lot longer than 3 days, where we kind of give you a try before you buy. So you get to know us, you get to know the mentors, you get to know other people. And I don't know about you, Liz, but I think for most people, what they enjoyed about it was starting that journey with lots of other people who were all at that same point in the journey. So you were all at that very beginning stage. None of you had launched a business. You were all thinking about it. You were all excited, and I know you were definitely excited about starting your weddings. And I think that was kind of nice, because that just brought you together as a group, didn't it? And there was 110 of you, I think there were at the beginning on that first launch pad, and you've all had great experiences together.
I made friends already. We were already friends. Like Sephora, one of the girls from Australia, started a messenger group for us to chat, and then they took those away like a month later, which was so sad. But like that was just, and she was the first one to do it, and everyone was like, oh, that's a good idea, let's do it. And it was just great to chat. So now we're liking each other's Facebook posts and all this sort of stuff, and we're just like, it's so supportive of one another. It's really great. And it kind of, because obviously I've been to uni and done all that sort of stuff, it kind of feels like that. You've got that same sort of, when you meet everyone on the first day and you're like, oh, we're going to be doing this group assignment together. But it's just, we're all, behind each other, and we're all taking each other's wins. And, you're like, oh, yay, you're launching, or yay, that's a great logo, or wow, or we're answering each other's questions and asking questions and getting feedback and from each other. And that way, and it's interesting, because obviously we want the mentor's perspective, but then to get it from another person who's just another person out there in the universe going with no experience can sometimes give you a little different insight, oh, I don't think that really works, as opposed to sometimes the feedback from a professional might come with past experiences that can sort of cloud perspective too. So it's just great. Everyone is just so loving and supporting on that network. It's amazing.
Yeah, you really did communicate well together, and you were also supportive of each other, and you still are, because obviously now you've moved into the main student group, which is great. And I think there's nearly 700 of you in there. and literally from all around the
All
world,
over the
which is
world.
what's so exciting, because I love seeing all these different people talking to each other, because obviously you wouldn't necessarily normally meet somebody who might be in Texas or, you know, in Manchester, in London,
or
or
in
London.
Italy, you know, there's so many lovely
Yeah.
Italian girls, and you know, like, it's great. Yeah.
There are quite a few. So from your perspective, obviously I remember you dived straight into the course material. What was your first impression of it all?
It's thorough. Like, it's so thorough. Like, I can't get over
That's
how
good.
much you have done to prepare people for this. Like, when you say your slogan is that you launch wedding businesses, that's what this course does. Like, things that there's
Oh,
no
thank you.
way I would have thought of the stuff that is in this content, you know, like, and you give every tip and trick in the book that has worked for you and that doesn't work but might work for someone else. So
Yeah, that's right.
this last week I've gone back over the live training. So I just wanted to go and watch it again and again reconnect with it, because sometimes I didn't take notes when I was watching it. Other times, obviously with the kids running around, and sometimes I'm just like watching it in the background, I'm doing something else. So I went back and rewatched it and took notes on it, because I'm at that stage now where I'm looking at doing my social media, I'm looking at doing my client experience. These are things you'll all learn when you do it.
So you've come a bit further, haven't you, on that journey
now? But yeah, when I started, I just couldn't get over how much content there is. Like, it's just like, it can be a little bit overwhelming when you first look at it and you go, wow, this is what it takes to run a wedding business. Oh my God, can I actually do this?
Of course you can.
So, yeah. And but like there's worksheets involved that you don't have to do. I do every worksheet. I'm like, I need.
That's good.
For me, I feel like it really helps me flesh out my ideas, and I really connect with the creative writing stuff at the beginning of the course. Like, oh my goodness,
that
writing
would
about
work
my
for
life
you.
today and journaling about who she is. I love her so much. I love my girl. She's amazing. My little.
What's
Sarah.
her name? Have you named?
Sarah.
Sarah.
Her name is Sarah. Yeah, she's just amazing, and I love her. That I've just created out of thin air. This person that, like, it feels so real to me because I'm working with her, even though she doesn't exist. It's crazy.
And that's such a big part of it, isn't it? At the end of the day, is really understanding who it is that you're going to be selling to and targeting, and the fact that you've actually done that, because understanding who, ICA, by the way, for anybody that doesn't know, is Ideal Client Avatar. That's fine. So your ideal client, ideal bride, ideal couple, whatever you want to call them. So what Liz has done is she's listened to all of the live training, and she's gone and she's created this backstory around who her ideal bride and couple are, so that she can now, everything that she does, from her logo, her website, her, you know, blog articles, her social media, she has that person in mind. So I'm really pleased to hear you say that.
But yeah, I think in terms of like what the course is like when you first look at it, it's also comforting to know that there's that really, like, it is the equivalent, because I've done plenty. I've done master's courses, I've like master's degrees, I've done obviously undergraduate and bachelor, and postgraduate. It is as thorough as doing a uni course. In fact, it's more thorough, I think, because when you do one unit course, you just get because you just get, when you're doing one unit, you just get like a study guide basically. Whereas this, you've covered every single thing, and this training would probably, it's going to take me a year to do it, and because I'm very thorough and I'm very big on being, I don't want to say this because I know you hate this saying, ready to launch. When I say ready, I mean that everything.
Are you ever ready?
For me, you're never ready, but I come from a family of small business that hasn't been successful, and so when you were talking about how sometimes it can be hard for people to have support, my family is supportive, but I can tell they're also reserved. So we've had several family members who have had problems with small business. So my parents are a little bit, they're supportive. They haven't gone against it, but they're a little bit like, really? You really want to do this? I'm like, I do, and I'm going to do it. So but it has to be done right. And that for me means really, and because the course is so thorough, it's giving me insight into things I would never have thought of, and things that could have led to failure because I didn't think about them. Like, we were even having to chat about my logo 5 minutes ago, and I was just like, oh yes, social media. It's going to look good on social media. It's going to just be pretty. It's going to look good. You know, like, it's going to fit in logo. You know, things that my brain didn't even go there. So, like, not to mention help with I can't math. So all the stuff on pricing, we actually gave how to do it, the formulas and everything. I'm like, because I just can't.
It's not my strong point either. I hate it. So I know a lot of people are the same.
Awful. It's just awful. But yeah, so it's so thorough down into those things, so that I'm like, and I've been able to work out my pricing now, and I'm just like, yay, that's all done. Because before I was just like, how am I going to do this? So it's amazing. And I think that anybody who does it is going to be successful if they take the course seriously.
Yeah.
So one thing I have noticed, and you really have to learn that you're running your own race. And I learned that very quickly in this, because some people dive right in and are starting to launch before they've even like found their footing. And that's my opinion. You know, people obviously have their own ways of approaching it, but the course is there to really make it easy for you to launch if you follow it properly. So I found people would be asking questions, and I'd be like, but Kylie's done a whole video on this. Have you looked at that? You know, why are you asking this question without doing the video? So like, I think that the course is there so that you can just go bam, smack, let's get this out and get it done right, so that you can be successful, because that's what it's for. It's to launch successful wedding businesses. So I think that's like, it needs to be used properly. Like, that's my biggest thing.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really good piece of advice there. And the fact that you're taking it slowly is a really good thing, because it's one of those things where, as you say, you could rush straight in, but if you do that, you may well have missed a couple of smaller things that, as you say, end up causing you problems, might lose you money, lose you clients. If you just take your time with things, it's like they say, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. Your wedding business isn't going to be built in a day either. You've got to put in the hard work. You've got to put in the time and effort. Now, that is not to say that you won't make mistakes, but
of course.
if you're going to make less of them, it means that you can learn from some of the horrendous mistakes that I've made in the past, because trust me, I've made a few. But the point is if you take your time.
I do. Warnings out there. Don't do this. I did this. Don't do it, which is great, because then you're just like, okay, I won't do that.
And especially if you can tell the story behind why you shouldn't be doing it and what the failure was.
Which is full of stories. We love stories. There's so many anecdotes in this group. Love anecdotes. So great.
Yeah, I think it brings it to life for people as well. You can be a bit too staid and serious. You've got to put the enjoyment into it. And, you know, there's a reason why kids enjoy stories and why they remember them, because they're so much easier to remember than facts and figures. And if you put a story around something, it's easier for people to remember and take on board.
And to connect with it too.
Exactly. So how far have you got with your business, Liz? Where are you at the moment with it? I know the answer to this question, but tell everybody else where you're at.
Okay, so I have a sort of goal of launch. I'm thinking January of 2021. So I want to use all of this coming year, especially while my son is in school, because I really like to launch and be able to sort of get office space in Port Macquarie. So Port Macquarie is about 50 to 60 minutes from Taree, where I live. So traveling him up there for school, it's, you know, an hour round trip, and then, you know, so I'm doing 2 hours there and back, and then, you know, so it's 4 hours a day of travel.
Right.
Being able to have office space in Port would mean I could work there, pick him up, come home. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. In terms of where I'm at, I have, goodness, how do I articulate this without sounding like nothing's done? Okay, so logo is almost done. I have started researching the vendors I want to work with. Okay, so I should give you an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, so my business is a destination wedding planning business. So I'm not targeting local brides in this area. I'm targeting brides that live in Sydney or in Brisbane or wherever. They don't live here. So it's designed that they will want to have a destination wedding close to home without having to go overseas. So I loved what I did for my sister, but it can be a logistical nightmare trying to organize something overseas when you can't visit the places and you can't see the vendors. So what I want to offer brides, especially time poor brides, who don't necessarily have the time to do all this research, but they still want control, to be able to go, oh, here's a fully packaged wedding. This is how much it's approximately going to cost from this wedding. Here are some highly recommended quality vendors, which I really want quality vendors that I have packaged for them. Here you go. Your wedding will cost X, Y, Z approximately, plus add-ons if that's necessary, so that they can go, oh, wow. Now I can just do what I have to do, and Liz can.
And it's all done for them.
And it's going to be at a beautiful location by the beach that's not taken up by all the people on Bondi who'd be standing there taking photos and selfies in your wedding, because the beaches up here have no one on them and they're beautiful. And that's sort of what
I'm doing. It sounds lovely.
You've been up here before, haven't you? You mentioned
I have. A long time ago. I have.
A long time ago. So basically that's the premise of the business. So right now I'm in the process of picking those vendors. So once my logo is done, then obviously I'm going to get my social media cards out and my business cards out so I can actually formally approach, because I don't want to approach it like I'm starting a wedding business. I want to have, here's my card. This is the business. This is what I'm doing. I'd really love to work with you. Yeah, I really love to work with you. I want you to be an exclusive vendor for mine. So my clients will come to you, will be using you directly as one of the potential sea or tree, depending if they want a beach or a bush wedding, depending what they're after. And I want to work exclusively with those sort of vendors to get that real quality price point for my customers. So that's sort of where I'm at. And yeah, and basically just sort of trying to flesh out the bones of the business at the moment. So I've started my business plan. I'm working through that. And I've started working on, I've obviously reserved my URLs, I've reserved my Facebook pages, I've reserved my Insta. They're all there. I've had people starting to like them, but I'm like, there's nothing on it. My sister's like, but it said to follow it. I'm like, but there's literally nothing on it. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm still following it. I'm like, okay, no worries, that's fine. But yeah, so
that's what you want to be doing, building up your
logo on it at least. I want the logo on it. At least it just says the name.
Well, you're going to have that very soon.
Yes, I am. It'll be ready probably in the next day or two, I'm guessing. So it's very exciting. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with it. And that's all been, and I haven't done a lot, but I could have done a lot more, but there's been a lot of things that have happened. My son went into hospital. I'm not making excuses. I'm not trying to make excuses.
Good.
But my son went into hospital, and we also had an issue with bushfires here. I don't know, like people in Australia.
No, I know. I saw that.
Bushfires. So that sort of put things on hold. And there's some weeks when I just don't work on it. And there's other weeks where I work on it every single day. And that's what's so great about it, because it's my content and I can do it whenever I want. And it's funny because after I had a break from my son got sick, it was really hard for me to get back into it. I had this teary, emotional Facebook Live that I did on the Wedding Academy.
I remember. I remember watching it.
I'm not doing it. And he said something to me that really brought me back in. And I think it's a really great piece of advice. He said, you don't have to be awesome every day. You just have to try and be better than you were yesterday. So even if that's the smallest little thing, you know. That's
such great advice.
When he said it, it motivated me. And then all of a sudden I come up with my name and started reserving URLs and stuff. And he's like, I said this to you like this morning. I'm like, I know. It just motivated me. I'm like, you know what? That's right. I don't have to be awesome. I'm going to do something small that makes me better than I was yesterday. And I just think that that's a great way to look at anything you're doing, regardless of whether it's business or whatever. You know, just try and be slightly better than you were. So you look back and you go, I'm so much better than the Liz I was yesterday. You know, like, yeah.
And that's so key, because not every day is going to be an amazing day. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love running my own business.
Especially with 2 kids under 5.
Absolutely.
It's not.
No, and life throws you curveballs as well. And I think what's really important is how you deal with those curveballs. And as you said, you have that emotional period. You went on the Facebook group, and I remember you doing that live, and just this outpouring of support for you. From all the students who were behind you 100%. I think that probably spurred you on a little bit as well. Yeah. And that piece of advice is just gold. Absolutely perfect. And I think everybody could use that. Yeah, no, you can tell him from me. Might be using that one. Brilliant. Absolutely love it. All right. So I have to ask you, obviously, when you were giving me your background just now, and you were talking about the fact that you've done journalism and then you've done teaching, etc., but you've been almost thinking about this for 8 years.
Yeah.
What was it that held you back? And then what was it that got you to go, that's it, I'm doing it?
Honestly, it's probably circumstance. So I hadn't identified that I really wanted to plan weddings. I just knew I wanted to I love my organizational sort of skills and things like that. But what sort of made me realize that now was the right time was really the fact that I guess teaching wasn't going to work for me. And I knew that. And I also, I'm really blessed in a position that hubby earns enough that I can be home with my kids. So I know that that's another reason I have a luxury of not having to rush. Like I know there's people who want to transition to their new business. They want to get out of what they're doing. And I'm in the position that I don't have to do that. So there's a luxury that I have a bit more time. If you minus the 2 kids under 5. But what made me really wanted to do it now is that it felt right. And as soon as I looked at hubby in the eye and said, I need to do this. And he's like, just do it. You know, so I'm really blessed that he's supportive. He just wants me to be happy. So he's like, if this is what's going to make you happy, then do it.
Do it.
And it's funny because Christine asked me a very similar question when I first joined and when I was obviously the first person. And she said, why did you do this? And I said, well, I'm finally feeling like I'm becoming who I'm meant to be. You know, this is what I'm meant to do. And I knew it then, but I didn't articulate it. I couldn't articulate it back then. And just something wasn't right. I didn't want to go back to teaching. But circumstance, my husband was studying to be a teacher. At the time, I had to work. I didn't have a choice. I was the breadwinner. You know, we had bills to pay, rent, things like that. You know, circumstances are different now. And it's also come at the perfect time with me being home with my kids and obviously having time to launch before Leo. And I needed something else to do, but it was really something just clicked into my head, and that's what happens. One day I decided I was going to go to uni and do like journalism and PR and stuff. I just decided. One day I was just like, I'm going to look up unis. Bam, instantly enrolled.
Oh my God.
And I started the following years. And that's exactly how I am. Things just I really firmly believe in things happening for a reason, and things come at the right time.
I do.
But you need to take those risks when you see those things happening, and I'm a firm believer of taking risks. So even with moving here to Taree, as a digressing sort of example, we moved here at a 0.5 teaching load. So that means it's half a load. My husband didn't even have full-time work when he took his job at St. Clair's here. It was half load. We didn't know if I'd get casual work. We didn't know if we could survive on a half teaching load, but we did it anyway, and it was the best decision we ever made.
Yeah,
so
you know, don't
academy,
you?
If you want this, take the risk, because if you want it badly enough, it'll pay off. If you want it, you'll invest in it, and you'll do it, and you'll enjoy it. And even Stacey said that the other day. She was like, she could have waited to launch, but she wanted to launch, and she launched. She was so excited, you know, do it, because why wait for tomorrow? And I think there's some people that are really happy with their lives the way they are, and they're happy with comfortable. But there's also people that don't even have a chance to realize their dreams, let alone do it. And here we are.
Yeah.
Like, feel so lucky that I found what I want to do, and I found a platform that's going to get there and make it successful. So I really don't feel like I have to be afraid of failing, which at the beginning obviously was my huge thing. When you asked me in your first email that you sent me after I did the quiz, because I am a big fan of quizzes, and I'm like the perfect example of how your marketing works. The first thing you sent me was an email saying, you know, what's your biggest fear? What's your biggest pain point? What are you afraid of? And I'm like, it's just failing, flat out failing. That's what it wasn't like failing. You know, it's just, I don't want to fail at life, basically. So, and the idea of failing in a small business when our family members have is terrifying. It is terrifying.
No, I get that.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm like, this business is going to work because this course has found every single possible hole that could cause it to fail. The only thing that is going to cause it to fail is me. If I don't give it everything, and some days I don't give it everything. Some days I'm like,
okay,
I'm not doing it. And this is the thing. I'm enjoying the free time, because when you start the course, you will realize how busy wedding planners are, and it's not even planning the weddings that's busy.
It's all the stuff beforehand.
It's the social media. I'm looking at it going, what do you mean I've got to post like 3 things a week, plus like at least a blog once a week, maybe a fortnight? I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be so busy. And that's like taking away from like even planning someone's wedding, which is a huge deal. So it's the only person who's going to fail is me. The business will be successful if I want it to be. And I think that that's what you have to do if you want it. Chase your dreams, because you won't fail if you want it badly enough. And if you take the time to invest in it, you know, don't just be whimsical. Don't just be like, yeah, this is a fun hobby. This is not my hobby. I do not want to go back in the classroom anytime soon. This is my job. I want to do this for a living. I want to make people happy. I want to empower my couples to have the wedding of their dreams. Because that's another side thing of my business too. It's part of my blue ocean strategy. A little bit of jargon for you there.
Thank you very much.
I want to empower couples to have the day that's theirs. So a bit of a side note for me is that I can't stand going to weddings where the couples aren't represented. So you can walk into some weddings and you go, the mother-in-law planned this, or the mother planned it, or some auntie who was pushy planned it because they can sew a dress, or they can make a bouquet, or they can make a cake. And my wedding, it was very much me, and I am so proud of it. And people might have thought it was weird. We danced to songs from Glee. We danced down the wedding aisle. You know, we're like, you know, to Bruno Mars's "To Marry You," but the Glee version, because I was way into Glee at the time, and I still love Glee. And people might have thought, this is really out there. Like we came into the reception to like, I believe in a thing called love. I believe in a thing called love. Yeah. You know, it was very, very me and Richard. And so people might have been like, okay, this is a bit over the top, but they wouldn't have said that wasn't Liz and Richard. You know, like
Yeah,
no one would have
and
said
that's really important now.
that.
And I think it's a massive trend, and it's not going to get any less as we're going on in time. Personalization is kind of,
Yeah.
it's been a trend for the last few years, but it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So the fact that you've kind of recognized that and gone, this is something I want to make sure that is a big part of what I'm doing, then obviously it's going to work, because now I don't think there is such a thing as the cookie cutter wedding anymore. People aren't doing the whole thing they were doing 10 years ago. They're doing away with tradition. And it is about being able to put together a wedding that represents them and their personality and their journey together.
Absolutely. And I think that sometimes weddings are very stressful for anyone who's gotten married or planning their wedding or whatever, or help someone else with it. And you tend to just give in sometimes, I think, because it's easier than having an argument. So you have to invite your second cousin's mother's brother because they came to one event when you were 6, you know, and I don't want to invite this person. I don't know who you are. I've never met you, but you know, either you're not paying for it yourself. So there's that whole like, well, we're paying for it, you know, or they just don't feel like they have the courage to say, I don't want to do that. So by me being a destination wedding planner, it's all done for them. They still get to pick whatever they want, but they got the premise of, well, Liz has sorted that out. Oh no, that's not that Liz has done.
Yeah, they can blame you, which is
they can blame me, and I
nice for them.
And if I do get the occasional phone call, oh, you're planning a such and such's wedding, I'll be like, yeah, I am, but my contract says that I'm only allowed to speak to the bride and groom about that. Sorry, have a nice day. You know, so I really want to be able to have couples walk away from their wedding day and say, I'm so proud of it, and they were so happy that it was them. And they were reflected in that, and that there wasn't other people's influence on their day. Because I think that would I didn't have that, so I don't have understanding of that. But I think it would be a huge regret for some people, I think, to turn around and
I think so too. And it's great that you've put that into your overall strategy, your Blue Ocean strategy for your wedding business, and the fact that you're taking the time to do all of this. And I think one of the biggest things that people can take away from this interview with you is that you are an absolute prime example of exactly what you should be doing when you're launching business. And that is in the fact that you're not trying to rush it, you're taking your time, you're going through all of the information. And in some cases, yes, I've been saying to you, don't overthink it, because as you know, just this evening as we had a conversation before we came online, I was giving you a little bit of feedback and advice there, but overall, it's exactly what you should be doing, taking your time, not procrastinating, but taking your time to actually do it right. And as you said earlier, the course is there to help you. But if you don't invest the time in going through all the pieces of that course, then the course can't make you successful. It's how you take that information, work with it, and implement it. That's what's going to make you successful. We can give you the steps. We can give you all the support, and we can show you what to do. But only you can go and implement it and make it happen. So I've got one last question for you, Liz, and you've kind of already answered this, but I'm going to get you to do it anyway, is give us your biggest piece of advice for somebody that's sitting on the fence, sitting there thinking, I really want a creative career, I really want to be in the wedding industry, but is holding themselves back. What would you say to them?
Well, you know, to take Shia LaBeouf into consideration, just do it. No. I think that you really just do it. Like, it really, that does sum it up. Because I think
it does.
I guess for me, I was taking on the issues that I thought would come into play, you know, like, is hubby going to be okay with me changing careers? Because you invest so much time in teaching too. To say that you want to just not do it anymore is a huge thing in and of itself, especially considering he became a teacher after I became one, so we could have holidays together. And I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. Sorry. He loves his job. That's different. But yeah, I think that if you hold yourself back, you're going to regret it. You know, I knew 8 years ago this is what I wanted to do, but there's a reason I didn't do it 8 years ago, because I probably wouldn't have connected with Kylie's content 8 years ago in a big giant folder the way she used to do it. She used to send it in the mail to everyone. It wasn't where I was at the time, you know, like, and I don't think I was in the right headspace to do it. I wasn't, it would have put other things on hold. I love, like, even my location. I would have been in Sydney competing with other brides. It would have been hard to find my Blue Ocean strategy then. I just would have been another name in the market. You know, this being here, everything for circumstances is correct. You'll feel it in your heart.
Yeah, go with your gut. Go with your gut instinct.
Absolutely go with your gut. Trust your instincts. Trust them. And you'll know if now is not the right time. So if now is not the right time, follow Kylie. Go on, do boot camp just for fun to dip your toe in the water. But if you know if it's right, and don't hold back, because why would you live a half life? Why live a half
that's
life?
a good way of putting it.
Life. Live the best life you can live, and because that positive energy will stem to everything, not just your career, to the people you bring into your life, to your family, to everything. So,
yeah, you know, it does. It has an effect on everything, doesn't it?
It does. It changes your perspective. And why wouldn't you want to be happy? Why wouldn't you want to do something that you love doing? I mean, I get circumstances. I do. Trust me, like I said, the circumstances wouldn't have worked for me 8 years ago when I wanted to do this. And they wouldn't have even worked for me when I was planning my sister's wedding, because there's no way at the time, with the lack of skills that I had, I mean, it was a wonderful wedding and everyone loved it and it was great, but I wouldn't have been able to manage other people's weddings at the same time, because I was maid of honor as well as wedding planner. And even like at least half the guests had never been overseas. So I was also a travel agent. You know, I did accommodation, I did flights, I did everything to get these people across there, and then deal with them in customs. We had issues with the planes and all this.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the tickets had to be written out manually. Their booking ticket things at Hawaiian Air just decided it was going to, And I'm like, out of all the days for this kind, anyway, you go with you roll with the punches. That's what you do as a wedding planner. Roll with the punches.
You absolutely do.
But yeah, I know in my gut that this is the right time, and that's why I did it. And you'll know. But if it's not right time, don't give up on the dream. Just work on it. So look at yourself and say, okay, can I do this in 5 years from now? And if you can, then join up for the course and take 5 years to do it.
Yeah, you have lifetime access. We never take it away from you.
To the content. Yeah. You know, so like, I mean, we did the lives back, 3 months ago now?
Yeah, through August, because it's 8 weeks of live training, and I think we finished at the beginning of September, didn't we?
Yeah, so it's been like almost 2 months since we did the lives. I just went back and watched them. The last one, I mean, it's really funny. I hate looking at myself on the internet. I'm going to hate watching this video. People, it's just going to be popping up on my Facebook feed for days, and I'm just going to be like, but, you know. Like,
how do you think I feel?
Yeah, but you'd be used to it by now. You do it every day.
I just don't look.
You just don't look at it. But, I mean, the course is there for the rest of your life. And that's what's so great, too. Even when you launch, if there's something that you like, you know, want to go back and look at, you know, like you can like go back and look at it. Even if once you started, you know, it's not like it's like, oh, you're done now. Kylie's just going to write you off. Yeah, we're done with you. You know, like you've got like that community forever. And like the Facebook group isn't going anywhere, you know, like it's.
Not with 700 of you in it. It's not.
Exactly. So even if you're not ready to do it right now, but you know you want to do it, enroll in the course. I'm pretty sure I saw a Black Friday email before I came on too. So maybe if you worry about money, because money was an issue for us too. So but that's another thing. You can do so many different payment plans with it. We did it over 12 months so we could pay it off, because obviously I'm staying at home, I'm not working. And, you know, it's an investment in our lives, you know. So that small amount is like, and it might look like a lot, but it's not. Trust me,
not really. It breaks down to like a Starbucks a day, roughly.
Can I just say, as a person who's done master's courses that are close to $5,000 one unit.
My God.
10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, $5,000, bam, straight as way done. This course is for the rest of your life that you can access forever. So don't look at the figure and freak out, because it's actually so generous. Just very generous. Considering the thoroughness of the course, like it's like you get paid nothing. Like really, I don't know. Like, has that even cover your wage with the amount of hours you had to put into this course? Like, I just don't.
It's been going 12 years. It's been a labour of love. Let's put it that way. But it's been one I've enjoyed. And you know,
just do it. Do it, people. Sign up.
It's guys like you that make my life worthwhile, because you actually take what I've written and everything that the mentors around you are giving you, and you're doing something with it. And that's so important, to be able to see the journey that someone goes on. So your journey so far at the moment is a fairly short one with the Academy, but I'll be able to look at your journey in another year's time and go, oh my God, look where she is now. And then when you launch in 2021, that'll be another milestone. So for me, it's huge seeing the journeys that all of you go on. And as you said earlier, you all do it in your own way. You've all got different ways to do it. So the biggest piece of advice I can give is, don't look at other people and what they're doing and then start to give yourself a hard time.
Run your own race.
Absolutely. And that's such a good way of putting it, run your own race, because everybody does things differently. Everybody learns in a different way. Everybody learns at a different rate. And everyone's got different circumstances behind them. And as you said, you've got a little bit more time. You've got the luxury of time because you've got hubby to be able to support you. Plus you've got the kids at home as well. Whereas for other people, you might need to fast track it a little bit more. And that's absolutely fine too. Whatever is your journey is one we'll support you on, but don't ever look at other people and think, oh, well, they're doing this, I need to be doing this. No, you don't.
Absolutely.
And it's the same once you launch.
It is easy to do. It's very
easy
to do.
It's very easy to do. I do it sometimes too.
Yeah, it is easy to do on the Facebook group. But I guess like at the end of the day, you're not, and this is one thing I did like about it, is you don't feel like you're competing with them either. Even though like you look at 700 potential wedding planners, the market's already crazy dense and you've got 700 of these people out there, but it doesn't feel like that at all. Because everyone they're running their own race, they're doing their own thing, and we're just supporting one another as a community. Like not once has it ever felt competitive at all. It tended to a little bit in the messenger group more, because it's like, oh, I've done this. Have you read this part of the course yet? And everyone's like, no. But not in a competitive sort of sense of like, I'm going to be better at this than you are, or I don't want to share what I'm doing because I don't want you to copy it. You know, it doesn't feel like that at all, because I mean, people could kind of try and copy my business. That's fine. But unless they're seriously in this exact location doing this exact same thing, they're not going to compete with me. If they were like,
and it's not just that.
Over, you know, like
it's you. It's your personality.
It's my personality too. They can't take that away from me. It's
nobody can do you. And that's so important. You've got to, in this business especially, when everything you do is so personal and you're connecting with the clients and they're connecting with you on an emotional level, it is all about you and your personality. So somebody can come along and try and copy what you're doing, but at the end of the day, they will never be you. And Liz, you are most definitely unique. There is nobody who is going to come along and be you. And that's a good thing, because you're yourself, you are who you say you are, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and that's why people love you. It's why they enjoy being around you, and it's why you've had so much support in the Facebook group, because you put yourself out there, you involve yourself in it, and you've become part of the community. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this is you get out what you put in. And that's with everything, not just with the course material itself, by being part of the community, by engaging with other students, not just for what you're going to get out of it, but by being a nice person. Because believe it or not, actually being nice and giving people the time of day, even when it might not benefit you, it makes you feel good. And at the end of the day, what goes around comes around. So, you know, be a part of that community. And I can just see Sarah's just popped on, Sarah, has just popped on the Facebook group saying people will buy people. It doesn't matter how many people are in the business. It's the personal connection every time. And Sarah, you're so right. Sarah was with me in the trend report last week, and that's exactly right. So Liz, I want to say a big, huge thank you to you for coming on and sharing your journey. You shared so much with us today. And it's, you know, it's so helpful for people to realize that it doesn't matter your circumstance or where you are or where you live, or, you know, you're in a fairly small rural area in New South Wales, you know, but you are making it work. You've decided to turn things on its head. It's going to be a destination wedding business where people are coming to you. Fantastic. You know, you put your own stamp on things. So I can't wait to see that logo, and you better be sharing it with me after we've discussed it like this.
I'll finalize it now.
Excellent. And then I want you to share it in the Facebook group so we can all see it. And
I will.
Get excited about it.
I was going to say hopefully people like it, but I don't really care if they don't, because I like
it. It's not about them. It's about you, and it's about your clients. So, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
To end the broadcast now so that Liz can get on with her evening. And I know that once she's got her website up and running, we'll be able to share those details under this video.
Sharing.
Exactly. So if you want to take Liz's journey, then you guys know what you've got to do. I don't need to say anything else, so I'm not going to, other than to say there is a Black Friday deal going on, so get over and enroll.
There is a Black Friday deal.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Liz. And have a good day, everybody, and I will see you soon.
Bye.
Right.